Welcome, welcome, welcome to Finding You Inside of You podcast. A podcast that is all about you going within and ask the question or questions, what is inside of me? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and please, please share this and all other podcasts. So let's just get right with it. William, today I want to talk about something that, regardless to if we are trying to seek it, is seeking it, don't know that we're seeking it, but there is a universal question that I have been pondering for several days, and I've begun to do more research and really going back into the research that I've done. And this question is, and it's the name of this podcast for today: Who is God?
Okay.
That's a universal question because humankind, man and woman, I'm just going to say people, period, in every era of life have asked that question, William: who is God? And I have this book here that was given to me many years ago by one of my students when I used to teach school. And the title of this book is A Faith Like Mine. And what it is all about is all of the world's religions and their perception or understanding about this God. Now, when I went back and reviewed the information in this book and looked at all of the different religions, if you will, or all of the thoughts about God, I can say personally that there is a unifying of a thought when it comes to different religions or faiths or beliefs that really intertwine with all of the religions that are out there. Now, that's not to say that they all have the same perception, that they all believe the same thing, but the common thread is that inner question about who is God, who am I, ways to, and how do I access this God? How do I communicate with this God? Because there is a knowing that there is something greater than the mind can even comprehend, William, that created all of these things that humankind did not create. And so there's this thing within us that's finding you inside of you that is now taking us a little bit deeper on the inside, whether we realize it or not. There is this call from the inside that is happening universally, that is saying to ourselves, who is God? Where, how do I communicate with this uh, um, thing, if you will? Because we give it the name God or we give it the name this, but really that's only our limited understanding. So we have to give a name for the human consciousness to be able to grasp it. We've got to name a thing. Like I have the name, well, somebody did name these glasses, or somebody named this a pen, or somebody named this paper. And then once they gave the thing a name, then they begin to define how to use the thing, what the purpose of the thing is. But William, it's all about a perception of the thing. What are your thoughts about what we're building right here?
Oh, I think this is good. I'm a student today, so I think this is really good.
I'm a student too.
I'm listening, and um, you're hitting it right on the head, especially when you're saying name a thing. And I think once we dive into who God is or what you perceive God to be, and for you, I think we'll understand. Even this is very good because I was actually reading. I was reading a passage in the Old Testament, and this is just for reference. But I was reading a passage in the Old Testament where we speak about Moses, and we think about Moses as who Moses seen God to be, versus who Abraham seen God to be. And we have two men that are professing to see the same person, but they're seeing the same person in two different instances, where even God himself says that I'm going to reveal to you a name, Moses, that I didn't give to Abraham. So Abraham called him El Shaddai, which was God Almighty.
Yes.
Moses calls him Yahweh and introduces him as a Yahweh. Same person, but a different identity, as if you would say who Abraham knew God to be may be different than who Moses knew God to be. So when we try to categorize, like you said, naming a thing. So it's very, very hard for you to tell me what I may know God to be if I'm going on my experiences versus your experiences. What was revealed to you may not be what was revealed to me.
Absolutely.
But in essence, we're still chasing after the same thing. So I'm gonna give it back to you, because I don't want to get off course, because I feel this is good, and I want to get more information on what you're saying. But it was really good because naming the thing a thing, it even goes back to just learning from your own perspective what a thing would be, or what this thing is supposed to do, as to what you've learned it to do and learned it to be.
Yeah, and you know what? And I would like to say this. We're all students. Actually, we're all students, because the understanding of our understanding is added to our understanding, but it's bringing more awareness to our thoughts. So we all must stay in the mindset of a student. Okay, so that was good. But I want to expound on something that you were bringing forward here, because it's the perception of the communicator of the thing, that they give the thing meaning. And when you look at all of these different faiths here, the perception of the one who called God, or what is God to them, that is their perception, how they perceived something that they really cannot fully explain. You feel me, William? That we cannot fully explain, and that's okay that we cannot fully explain it. But the problem comes is when your explanation of a thing becomes the explanation as far as the truth about the thing. Because just because I have on glasses, and you have on glasses, we're both wearing the glasses to help us to see better, but you may like a frame that's a round circle. Or you may like a frame that has different colors in it. But the idea is that we're putting on these glasses because the idea is to help us to see clearer. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I want to read this. We have spent so much time, and we're still talking about who is God. How do I assess? How do I access this? How do I bring this to me? You know, how do I touch it? How do I feel it? How do I communicate with God? Okay? I'm going to read this. We have spent so much time suffering and destroying each other, trying to find something, talking about God, that we already possess, than if we went within and asked ourselves, who is God? Now I'm going to take you to the scripture, because when I look at these different faiths or beliefs or religion, and each one has their own book of recording of how they understood it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm going to go to this one in the Christian Bible, where it says in Genesis 1:26 that we're created in the image.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm created in the image, and I want to pause it right there. I'm created in the image, and the breath of this God, who I'm seeking to understand and to know,
Mm-hmm.
the breath and the image is already within me.
Mm-hmm.
I already possess it. Well, here's what happened, William. When you take all of these perceptions and you make a religion out of it, which is beliefs, traditions, rules, dogma, then you are missing the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying the boat is not there, but when I take the what that I do know, something simply saying the raha, the breath,
Mm-hmm.
and it became a living soul. The image that I was created after, I mimic it because I can't help but mimic it. Now watch how we mimic it already and don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
Because of all the different beliefs, all of the different perceptions, all of the different thoughts, without them coming together. William, what do you think would happen if every faith on the planet, if it was such a thing that could happen, and we had a community people meeting, every faith, if there was such a thing? I wish I could push a button and that would happen. But realistically speaking, I don't perceive that to be happening. But what if we all came together and put our faiths down, or put them to the side for a second, as far as you have to believe this, you have to do this, you have to follow these rules, you have to follow these commandments, which humanly speaking, you can never keep them, because I probably break about all of them by the time I get back home today. Thankfully, there is grace. All right? But back to my point. We've caused collectively so much suffering, William. So many wars. So many deaths. Such unnecessary division. All because we don't know that the God is already within us. Or the Spirit is already within us, finding you inside of you. It's already there. So if you want to step a little bit further into diving deeper and finding you inside of you, the God in you, Genesis 1:26, the breath of God, that's just only a label that is within you, we'll find out, William, that we have been mimicking and communicating and have access to this God once we left our mother's womb. Matter of fact, before we left our mother's womb. Because the heartbeat began to be the same heartbeat of the universe. And that's a different story at a different time. So I began to mimic and didn't realize I was mimicking, William, this God that I'm struggling all of my life and will sometimes even go to my grave and never experience what is this that we call God. And that's okay. You can use God. You can use whatever that is fitting for you to describe what you already are. And we mimic it every day by creativity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Someone created paper.
Mm-hmm.
Someone created a pen. Someone spoke it from their imagination, William, into existence.
Mm-hmm.
What would it be like if we could create a pen or a pencil where people could just write, Oh, and let's just even take it a step further. Let's just make them come in different colors. Oh, let's just take it a step further, where we can just make things electronically, where we can just go to a whiteboard. Oh, let's do this one. Where we can have a computer or a laptop, and we don't have to use the keyboard. We can just use our touch screen. Now I'm still going back to who is God? How do we access God? How do we communicate with what is this that created a tree or the rain? Or it could be, listen, up in the Northeast as we speak, they have got rain, sleet, and snow.
Yes.
Here in the South where I am, North Carolina, I can walk outside literally like this and feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. I don't have to put on a coat. Who is this that has this kind of essence, has this kind of power that can do all these things? Who is this that when you leave out of your house today, you're going to see people, hundreds of people probably, that you have never seen before. Mm-hmm. You're going to see people that you didn't see yesterday, but you're going to see different people today. Who is this that, and how do I communicate? How do I access this thing, this God, this, you see how your mind, William, begin to stumble because mm-hmm. it's so magnificent and so vast that you can't even put a label to it. Because you begin to call it God, source, energy, that. See, the human mind cannot comprehend that. But guess what can begin to comprehend it, William? Mm-hmm. When you go within and find you inside of you and you begin to ask the questions. And I end with saying this, part 1, because next week is going to be Who is God, part 2. Okay. When you begin to go inside of you and find you and hear yourself talking to you. Now take that one. It is not yourself that's talking to you. It is your spirit that is talking to you. It is that or that thing or that God that is talking to you. And it is saying to you, okay, if you want to know the revelation of the kingdom, you first have to see that you are a part of the kingdom. You have to see that you are the kingdom. You have to see and know that you are not a mistake. You have to see and know that you have to begin to get rid of all of those things that you are being taught about something that is unexplainable. But guess what? When you go within and you begin to say, who is God to me? Who is this energy, this thing to me? Who is it that depends on where you live at, that in a couple of months, the buds are going to start coming back on the trees? Who is this that in a few months, depends on where you live at, the grass is going to start turning green all over again? Who is this that causes me not to give up when I want to give up? Who is this and what is this inside of me that when I do wrong, I have a conscience inside of me that tells me this is wrong, even though I might continue to go and still do the wrong, but my consciousness within inside of me, because I have access to the God that is in me. And until you go within and find God for yourself, you will always, and I literally mean always, get the residue or the perception of what is outside of you that would explain to you what God is. And lastly, when the explanation of what God is, it becomes a religion. Because the communicator sometimes has not reached that level of consciousness where they are going within their own self to tell you or to help you to find the same knowing that they have found. You have to be careful that the communicator, as far as who God is and how to access God, be careful that they're not projecting onto you their perception about God. And this is me saying this, and I firmly do believe this. No one can teach you or lead you to God but yourself. Because at the end of the day is, who do you say that God is? What do you know about God? Now, it's okay for people to share their knowledge, to share their thoughts, or to have a dialogue. There's nothing wrong with that, because I love those kinds of conversations. But when I go back to when I started reading this, we have spent so much time suffering and destroying each other. And destroying each other. I believe it was the Apostle Paul, correct me if I'm wrong, William, that asked the question, is Christ divided? Mm-hmm. Am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Is Christ divided? That means whatever you believe, you have so divided it, and I don't care what your faith is, because in your group there's still division. Mm-hmm. You've so divided this knowledge, this truth, until it's like playing pool, and you take the racket off, and you have the pool stick, and the 8-ball just hits that rack, and those balls go everywhere. Division. Well, this is the way it is. No, this is what it means. No, this is what it means. Mm-hmm. Well, that's your perception. But who is God to you? Who is this thing to you? Who is this energy to you? Who is this that created all of this? Who is this that put a sun in the sky and a moon in the sky, moves the earth that we are on, there are other planets, turns it on its axis? Day becomes night wherever you are at. Night becomes day. Go within. Go with the God that's in you that you were created, Genesis 1:26. And have a conversation with yourself. Because I firmly believe that I'm created in the image of this God, source, energy. And my answers are going to be found within. My healing is going to be found within. My resources are going to be found within. I'm going to move away from the traditions and the beliefs and the elementary principles and the rules and the regulations and the commands. Because humanly speaking, you're not going to be able to keep them. I don't care how many rituals you do. I don't care how many traditions you follow that was taught to all of us, regardless of what your faith is. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying anything's wrong with it at all. But at the end of the day, you will still have that question. Who is God? How do I access this God? What do I do with this power that is in me that sparks out every now and then? What do I do with that energy? What do I do with these thoughts, William, that come across my mind? Because I'm a creator. But if I don't know that I'm a creator, I'm just thinking and let people tell me, oh, that's just your imagination. How do I access God? How do I communicate with God? Go within your God self. Go within your God self. That's stage one. Then you will know not only how to communicate, then you will learn how to hear from within. This is Essence Evolve, part one of who is God? How do I access God? And how do I communicate with God? Find you inside of you. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you share. And if you would like to put comments in the comments below, feel free to do so, because this is a universal question. And this universal question does have answers. So for now, until the next time, peace be unto you. Find you inside of you and learn the art of listening to the God within you.